Our astral children. The astral world is called a plane in nature. Human passion, compassion, emotion, and desire are the qualities which attune the body of the individual with the corresponding body of the macrocosmic man. God, or Brahma, has a septenary constitution. For each one of his bodies, there is a corresponding pole or vibrating vortex in the human body, these poles being centers of activity which correspond to the greater plane centers on the universal man. By analogy, there is little doubt that the planets of our chain are the permanent seed atoms of the universal man, and that each atom is the center of a septenary system of globes composed of varying degrees of density. In the universal man, these bodies are called planes of nature. In the lesser man, these planes are called bodies. At the present time, we are able to cognize only the wave creation passing through the 7 globes, which are attuned to material creation. It is safe to say, however, that in the greater creation, Brahma created waves of life on each of his planes, or bodies, and that the invisible elements of nature are peopled with races, rounds, chains, and globes, passing through the septenary chain of manifestation, none realizing or understanding the existence of any other order, or being understood by any other. Since this is true of the greater man, and since the law of analogy is an unerring guide, we are safe in assuming that man, the lesser universe, is not only carrying on the work of physical creation, but also an elaborate series of astral and mental creations, which the trained seer is able to study at first hand, and the attributes of which he is able to classify. There is a plane of nature corresponding to each one of man's bodies. Evolution consists in lifting the center of life consciousness successfully from one plane to another by the gradual attunement of the consciousness with the vibratory rate of that plane. In the Western world, the physical plane is the world of reality, because the consciousness of its inhabitants is concentrated solely upon material things, the sense centers being entirely enmeshed in the visible and physically tangible. The physical world is to us the only existing reality because we cognize the external only through the vibratory rates of sense perception, and our present rate of sense perception attunes us with the plane of the lowest, the feet of Brahma, the level of the Sutra or servant. In nature, there is a word or plane, one of the bodies of Brahma, to which man becomes attuned through the vibratory rate of the emotional sutractic atom. The whirling of the atoms produces a rate of vibration, and each of these seed atoms vibrates to a different key. To one capable of understanding them, and whose sense have made the proper attunements, these seed atoms intone a mystic chant whose note sounds like the thunderous tones of a colossal organ in nature. Never ceasing their wondrous pinwheel motion, they join the ensemble of the celestial symphonies of marching spheres. In a lesser way, they sing the chant sung by the planets and thus breathe the sacred name of the Most High, that wondrous being composed of all these sparks of life that rope themselves in this endless scroll of vibratory sound. From the physical body of man there extends an egg-shaped aura with the large end at the bottom. This aura, commonly called the astral body, is a series of swirling emanations in which the rudiments of the organs can be traced in spirals and pinwheels of coloured light. This egg-shaped body extends from 12 to 14 inches beyond the physical form, and is the vehicle of conscious expression that attunes man, the little god, to the emotions of his creator. Like the ruddy planet Mars, which is its keynote, this body glows with the opalescent shades and colouring, with pink, violet, and orange predominating. This body is as much of a part of our organisms as the physical body, and we function in it many years after the death of physical forms. The astral body expresses all the sentiments, emotions, desires, hates, fears, excesses, and active qualities of the human organism. From it pour perpetually into the astral plane of nature the man-created, created elementals which people this plane in the great universe. The astral plane was divided by the ancients into 2 grand divisions, Kamaloka and Devanshan. These words express more adequately than any English words the qualities of this world. Kamaloka, translated, means primarily the world of compensation. It has been identified with purgatory by the religious organizations of Christianity, and is composed of the 3 coarsest planes of the astral world. It is well for us to realize that the solest purgatory of the ancients is many times finer in its atomic principles than the physical world, and that it interprets physical matter. Though we are unaware of it, the eternal flames of hell are now in our very midst, unseen, unrecognized, and absolutely harmless, because at the present time we function at a different rate of vibration. Into this lower division of astral plane are poured the so-called elementals generated by the emotions of man. Our hates and fears and excesses may thus be said to be pulled in the 3 lower planes of the astral world. There the clairvoyant is able to see the fruitage of human degeneracy and the children born of the animal body of man. These creations are often strange contradictions of the things a person would have the world believe them to be, for they register not the polish, but the secret excesses of his life. As streams of demons and monsters, such as haunt the sleep of the opium fiend, or flash before the eyes of the drunkard, we see the children born of the lowest side of God's fire world. They issue from us in a never-ending stream, and feed this seething throng of fire beings that destroy each other in this world of darkness. This is indeed the inferno of Dante. Here in Karmaloka, the land of sin, man must meet his creations face to face and confront the children of his vices. Man little realizes the immorality that he is capable of conferring upon his creations. There is an apocryphal story of the Master Jesus, who when a child at play, moulded clay pigeons and tossed them into the air, giving them life so they could fly up into the heavens. In the same manner, each of us, with the power of immorality in our soul, is giving life to the substances of nature, moulding them into the expression of our temperaments and personalities, and launching them into the subtle essences of being where they float for ages, carrying with them the blessings or the curses with which we have endowed them. Thought forms. Thoughts are geometric outpourings of the mental body. They are germinated and vitalized through the union of the material plane with the physical brain, which, as father and mother, gives birth to the child, a thought. In order to think, it is necessary for the entity to have in his being a center of conscious power, a subchakmic vortex, of the same rate of vibration as the mental plane. Around this, he builds the mental aura, which consists of an egg-shaped vehicle, sometimes with uniform ends and sometimes with the upper and slightly larger. This ovoid, being attuned to Saturn, the mind-born, is dark indigo in color, but is pierced with the thought forms of many colors, and is usually fringed with a fine hem of golden light, sometimes changing to green and orange. This body, which is the vehicle of consciousness on the mental plane, is the highest we are capable of building at the present time, the vortices of the higher bodies being as yet latent. The masters of wisdom, the highest initiates of our life waves, function in their mental bodies, which some of them are capable of moulding into close facsimars of the human form. These are the bodies from which issue the thought forms, strange geometric outpourings, and many-coloured waves and rays. These are also the children of man. Having created them, he is responsible for them, as he is powerless to prevent them from going forth in the spirit of their Creator. We are surrounded by our own emanation bodies, which are constantly pouring into the infinite reservoir streams of energy, both constructive and perverted. These streams of energy result from vitalizing our emotions and thoughts and thereby conferring upon them the power of our immortality.